Welcome back to another episode of the Block Runner Podcast. I'm your host, William, always here with your co-host, Iman.
What's going on, dude?
On the sticks, we got TJ.
Hello.
So first, we got to congratulate TJ and his family for winning a championship over
That's right, dude.
this last week.
Oh, thanks, guys.
I was expecting like a ginormous trophy we could have had on display right here.
Brought you the ring.
Where is it? Where's the ring at? Oh, yeah, you took it back.
Yeah, took it home.
You didn't just leave it here, did you?
No, I didn't.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
We'll have to create like a memento for the occasion. But nonetheless, the purpose of it is to have it like in proximity, just to like siphon from the aura.
I'll bring one for the studio.
I got Jose Altuve's ring back there somewhere.
Yeah, that doesn't resonate as hard for
It
some
doesn't.
reason. We
No.
don't know Jose Altuve, dude. It's like, I know he puts in a lot of work to be Jose Altuve.
Right.
He has to, right?
Well, he's
Yeah.
pretty good. He won a ring, right?
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we've seen the amount of work it took for you to win a championship, right, TJ?
That's right.
It was a
Yeah,
lot of work.
That's true.
And we've been putting in a lot of work ourselves, but
No championships.
no rings yet, dude.
Not yet.
No.
We've got like regional qualifiers, maybe, but championship ring, that's what we're striving for.
That's right.
And why wouldn't you, right? Like, that's the
Yeah,
question.
I feel like that's why we do these things, is to win championships.
Yeah, but what is the actual equivalent of a championship in context of like what it is that we do, right? Essentially,
know.
product market fit.
Yeah.
Like that's
I would
it.
say so.
It's like actually
Like being right for once.
like building something that like actually impacts like a million people, I'd say.
I would say so, yeah.
That's like ring worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've built things in the past that have like impacted tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
So that's like,
It's a regional qualifier.
we had a 9-7 season or something like that, right?
Yeah.
That's what that feels like to me.
Yeah.
You're
It's
the
like-
Dallas Cowboys of crypto.
Yeah, see, you don't want to be the Dallas Cowboys for too long, right? Eventually you want to like
No, you want to be
Clutch
the,
it-
the
be clutch.
Patriots, dude.
That's right.
a dynasty.
We want Tom Brady on the team.
I agree. Yeah, so we're pushing for that just because, I mean, what else could we be doing? For me, it's like I don't know. It's the competitiveness of that
Yeah.
helps a lot because it's like I've noticed recently, like I haven't played a video game in like 6 years. Literally, like at least like hard, like the way I used to play them,
Yeah.
where like I would commit myself to a game, right?
Yeah. You would get addicted to the competitiveness of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
coincidentally, like 6-7 years ago is when we started like this new competitive endeavor of like trying to build
Wow.
something of impact. So
Is
it's
it a
like,
coincidence or is it a direct reflection of your.
well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like I pivoted that competitive need to like a new arena, right? It's like,
Huh.
which video games are the perfect like fucking supplement. I could have just kept doing that for the rest of my life if I
Yeah.
really wanted to.
Yeah, but playing video games and being competitive at them or being very good, it's like, it's not as constructive.
No, definitely not. But it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It feels good when you're like really good at a game.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, all that hard work pays off, dude. It's like,
Yeah. And then you turn off the system and it's like, you look around, it's like, yeah, it still sucks around here.
pretty much. That was so sad. I was like, damn, dude, I gained like 50 pounds this summer, dude. Just sitting here on this fucking chair, just like chowing down as I'm like hardcore gaming 16 hours a day.
You're like dominating on the game, but
But,
everything
like,
else.
my fucking heart is like struggling just to like pump, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely healthier to compete like in a different sense. But I'll tell you what though, dude, it's mentally not so healthy. Like it's stressful as fuck, you know?
Yeah. The real life competition.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like a different kind of stress, I think, because the things are just like, I don't know. What's the word? Like when you're playing a game, you're competing maybe like in a sport. It's like you kind of like know pretty consistent with like what it is you have to do.
Yeah.
It's like baseball or football, these things
Yeah.
don't change much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I just gotta keep working at it. And like I'm gonna get a lot better and my chances of,
Yeah, for sure.
championship status increase. But like in this whole crypto world,
Well, just like the entrepreneur world,
yeah.
you always have to be pivoting. You always have to be paying attention to the markets and technology.
True.
Like you're always on your toes.
100%. Yeah. So there's always that, and this has been like a perpetual theme. And, if you guys have been watching long, it's like we're like in these periods where we're questioning our own sanity.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, where it's like, where we think we're locked in onto the right, trajectory, but we could be completely off.
Yep.
We just don't know, right? You won't know until like the thing you're working on is like out there, and then you've got the market to validate, your decisions.
Yeah, it's sort of like preparing for the next game, football game, basketball game, or whatever, and like you prepared as much as you can.
That's a good,
but not until you actually play against somebody.
Yeah.
Do you actually know how good you actually are?
Yeah, or like a fighter, right? Who has like a what's it for, like a strategy to a fight. It's like, I'm gonna go into a fight in 6 months. I'm gonna assume this guy is gonna like, I don't know, be more of like a wrestling type. It's like an MMA here. So I'm going to train for that and like my takedown defenses. And then, oops,
all of a sudden,
guess what? The last 6 months he's been training like Muay Thai. And then he's just like all of a sudden just like kneeing me in the fucking face, dude. I wasn't ready for that, dude.
Yeah.
Elbows, John Jones, dude. One of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just never know, right?
Yeah, that's what trying to build a business in the real world looks like.
Yeah, Elon really reduced it down to like a nice one-liner, right? What did he say? It's like chewing glass and staring into the abyss.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's pretty close. That's pretty close.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, and Elon's like at a different level.
Yeah. Well, he's back. He's back to tech.
Yeah.
I watched that what is it? Y Combinator speech
so
that he gave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went back to the history of like how he started with Zip2 and all that. So
yeah, I was like, I already kind of knew all this.
I knew it too, but like they were in like Y Combinator. Everybody was like 20 years old. They probably never heard of it.
That's true.
It's like what a Zip2? What the hell is that?
That's true. Those kids probably like hearing about the internet is probably like magical to them because they didn't really experience it the way we did. Yeah, it's like
it's like learning about World War II. It's like it's very ethereal.
At some points, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to hear about like the Battle of Stalingrad, it's like, what do you mean? Like hundreds of thousands of people died in like a single battle.
That's a weird thing to think about.
I totally agree because we're over here like little conflicts arise in the Middle East, and it's like 20 people get killed by like hundreds of missiles that were launched. It's like, wow, I'm surprised more people didn't die for one. And then you compare that to like the devastation of like World War II. It's like, man, totally different realms. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's the differences.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so over the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to understand the markets. Very difficult to kind of put your bets where they should be in times like this. But if you watch our previous video, we're talking about stocks. And so as aimless as that may sound, it's actually where the puck is headed.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you mean by aimless? Aimless from whose point of view?
Aimless in the sense is like, oh, are you guys like in the Bitcoin ecosystem, or are you guys like just you were in Ethereum, now you were in Bitcoin, now you're in stocks now? Like, well,
yeah, we're like making videos about Solana trenches or base trenches. So yeah, I guess you could see that we're kind of all over the place. We're just trying to find the puck, really, or where the puck will end up.
Yeah,
and there's been a lot of like little tidbits of events over the last, I don't know, year or so that should have signaled us earlier on that there is like a bigger deal happening, like in the context of like actually maybe not. More recently, these signals have become loud enough to where it's like for us to like stop looking at crypto for a little bit and to like actually look at stocks. Something big has to be happening, right? I would say.
What you're saying kind of reminded me of what I recommend you guys watching, and you guys too listening and watching, is the Jack Mallers speech from Prague, I think, that just happened like today or yesterday or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, he talks about the history of like how we got here, and he's comparing today's environment with the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things that happened in the Great Depression is happening right now. There's a lot more people living with their parents in their 30s. A lot less opportunities for jobs.
Yeah.
The jobs that you get, they don't pay as well. Housing is expensive. Like, it's just as bad as they were in the Great Depression is how bad it is right now. And it's because fiat currency, is because of all these choices we made over the last year. It's because we're borrowing from the future and paying for wars and paying for stupid things, and the people who are young-ish are paying for these things and getting married a lot older, having a lot less kids. All these things align to the Great Depression and how things were.
Interesting. But it doesn't feel like as brutal, right? Is because like
I don't know. It's sort of like the Great Depression. It's sort of ethereal, where it's like everyone's like super poor, but it probably feels and was like it was then, like it is now. But we have tech. We have laptops and AI and self-driving cars.
yeah, that's kind of, I guess that's what it is, right? It's like, there's still DoorDashers out there like delivering hot meals. It just doesn't feel.
Point is, everyone's barely making it.
That for sure. I mean, yeah, I could feel that.
Yeah, I think we all feel that in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah, like I know all it would take is like one little like life diversion, like I don't know, maybe even like a fucking broken leg or something, something like that, where all of a sudden I have this big cost increment, like, and I'm screwed.
Yeah,
and I'm like in the middle class range, income wise. So I'm wondering, like, how is everyone else doing?
Probably about the same.
If not worse, right?
If not worse, yes.
Yeah, like, I know people who are like, like my brother, he's making like, I'd say half of what I make, but like he has 3 times the mouths to feed.
Yes.
How's he doing it, right?
Barely. That's how he's doing it.
Right. Well, there has to be a lot of people like that. And, and then people are saying maybe the results of this like Middle East crisis, oil prices could double this summer.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. I feel like there's just like one little thing.
One more straw on the camel's back.
It's just going to break everyone's like, this is it. I can't do it anymore. Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like there has to be that, but I don't know. It's not obvious that everybody's like under the same like level degree of stress.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have our anecdotal experience of like this environment, and it aligns with what the numbers show on the chart. It's like everyone's getting married later, less kids, less income per capita, housing. It takes 10 years to save up to put a down payment on a house, instead of it used to take like 2 or 3 years, like just 30 years ago. And like these all things like just add up.
Yeah.
And I forget how we got into that part, but
it's like paying, I don't know, like
it's paying your dues to like trying to make it in a much harder environment.
Well, that's just like one of the things happening. You were talking about this Jack Mahler fella. There's a lot of these people out there, right, who are like painting these doom and gloom pictures of like reality, what's happening. Yeah. And then at the end of these presentations, it's always buy Bitcoin, buy my bags, right?
Yeah, but
these guys all tend to own like tremendous amounts of Bitcoin and have these Bitcoin companies on the way.
Yeah.
So of course they're out there painting these like ultra bare pictures of like, reality.
Sure.
So yeah, it's like a little bit of that. It's like a super biased take.
But when do you see something like that? Because that happens all the time. It's like if you have a pharmaceutical company, all of a sudden they're saying you're actually sick when you're not, because they're trying to sell you drugs. So there's a time where that is kind of ugly and that's very capitalistic. But there are other times where it's like you better be doing this, or you're actually going to end up holding the bag, which is the dollar. Like that is the truth.
Yeah.
And so we need to be able to distinguish when someone's trying to sell you a drug versus trying to actually help you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because there's enough data to suggest that, these people are onto something, right?
Yeah.
So they're not just like selling snake oil.
Yeah, right.
They're, I guess what's could be perceived as that. It's kind of like people trying to convince, like, the housing market is like running towards a crisis. I don't know, maybe like in 2006, 2007, those people were perceived as crazy, right? You would never question the
well, also, yeah, there's some self-responsibility too. If you're buying a house that you could barely afford just because they're giving you a loan, like you need to like self-assess your own finances to properly be able to buy that house. I mean, that's part of the reason why it crashed is that people are buying homes they couldn't actually afford.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but that's part of the problem. But even with that data, it's like people had so much belief in the housing market because it was such a sustained like component of our economy and such.
Yeah.
And our traditional financial system. There's like no situation or way that we should ever be concerned that somehow it would all come crashing down. I feel like the dollar's in like the same category, right? There's like no way. The dollar's been a fixture of our world economy for like 100 years. How could it ever not be like the, that fundamental pillar? So it's like you Bitcoiners are fucking insane. Just like you guys shorting the housing market are fucking insane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
I could imagine that there's like a parallel, reality to that. So it's like these Bitcoiners out here, they're expecting the dollar to collapse. Like actually, like completely.
I mean, eventually they will be right.
Yeah.
That is per the nature of fiat currency.
And then they're gonna win handsomely.
Yeah.
As they're assuming the positions for that, right? That's why they're all forming and like hoarding as much Bitcoin as possible and trying their best to convince everyone else to kind of do the same.
Yeah, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If everyone does the same, the dollar actually collapses. And if you don't do it, it's going to collapse anyways, so it's a better position to hold Bitcoin than not.
Yeah, well, yeah, in that video we showed that where we still have that chart, it's like 40% or something down the dollar.
Yes.
Somewhere. Damn, dude, it's towards the end.
Is it?
There she is.
It says the USD has now lost more than 10% of its value this year, its worst first half in almost 40 years.
Yeah, that sounds like a big deal. Sounds like something more people should be concerned about. I don't know. But I guess it's off. Yeah. It's just,
I don't know, like out of the entire population of humanity, I don't know what percentage actually thinks about money. Like in the where this you look at as like this is concerning.
Yeah, not much. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think people will understand what it means that the dollar that they have is now worth 10% less now than it was 6 months ago.
Yeah, people just but people understand inflation pretty well, right?
The
consequences of this, like
sure,
the weakening dollar and the increasing of the supply and stuff.
To them, all this means is that things get more expensive.
Yeah, that's where people like really notice, and then they start to get really concerned, as we all should be, right? Because things are definitely getting out of hand. I don't know, like even like restaurants, it's like almost unaffordable to eat out at this point.
Yeah, it's $100 every single time.
Yeah, I've completely like pulled back, dude. It's been several months since I've like, it used to be a pretty regular thing for me to like, it's Friday or it's Saturday, we're gonna go out and eat.
Yeah.
But this shit's getting crazy. It's getting super expensive. It's like not even worth it.
It's very expensive, and then the quality that you get, it's not all that great, anyways.
I mean,
I think the best part is not having to clean up and all that stuff, but
yeah, you're paying for the convenience of that. I mean, it's a bitch to put together a meal like that, and then the mess afterwards it's not fun. Yeah, I'll pay $50 per person, $40 per person.
Yeah, one meal is like half the grocery bill for the week.
Correct.
Like that's insane.
I know. I don't know how everything is still.
How's everything everything not on fire right now?
That's I wonder that every time I'm driving around. It's like, how is everything still going on? I'm still seeing new restaurants being like erected.
Yeah, another metric is that people are driving their cars 4 or 5 years longer than they used to 20 years ago.
I'm still with my little 2009 Nissan over here, dude.
Yeah.
I'm part of the statistics here.
You should keep it for as long as possible.
It's been doing great. I'm going to tell you that. It's, I've gotten like 30,000, 40,000 miles over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's great. It hasn't broken down on me once.
You don't need a new vehicle.
But I do want one, though. I see everyone else with their nice, shiny vehicles. I'm wondering, how's everyone, everyone drives a brand new vehicle.
They're hurting. I'm telling you, dude. They're hurting bad.
I don't know, dude.
I know people who get new cars like every 2 to 3 years. Yeah. There's no way they're handling it. No way.
Everyone's handling it, dude.
No,
what do you mean?
No way.
I'm
They're
not seeing
so they're so underwater they don't even know that they're in water.
I don't see a purge out there, dude. Everyone looks pretty like tame, you know. I think they're handling it somehow, right? It's odd.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah, whatever, dude. It's just per the system, I guess.
It's for the nature of like loans. It's like, what do you mean that $100,000 car is going to cost me $1,000 a month? It's like I got $1,000.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is just all like symptomatic of kicking the can down the road. It's like, 6 or 7 years ago, I was, questioning how long this can be kicked. It's like it feels like we're major recessions typically like came in like every like decade or so.
Yeah.
And they're like around 2018, 2019, I was like, dude, we're definitely due for like another major recession.
Yeah, that's partly why we just started the podcast too.
Yeah, that was part of the factoring in and questioning Bitcoin's role and all that.
Yeah.
And then it just never came. There's all these moments where it could have come, but the
bailouts,
the systemic levers are always like
print more
in.
money.
Yeah, and now it's like it's so normalized and expected, and it's like part of the expectations of how do we keep this economic machine running, humming along.
Yeah, it's just the thing is if your solution is to print more money to pay the bills,
well, that's the consequence.
Yeah,
right here,
exactly.
We're looking at it.
Exactly, everything gets more expensive. The salaries don't go up, and people just consume a lot less as a result, and therefore you got a Great Depression.
Oh no, dude.
Yeah.
Are you back to the doomer cycle or not yet?
No.
Not until everybody has to like.
I have an optimistic outlook of the future. I don't think Terminator's gonna happen.
We're not talking Terminator. I'm just
no, but still, even in the context of AI, it's like that is its inevitable outcome for most people. It's like you're gonna have super intelligence, and that intelligence would just deem humans a nuisance and just eliminate all of us. It's like I don't think that's gonna happen, and I don't think we're gonna necessarily get into this like Great Depression where a lot more people are gonna be starving, but a lot of people are definitely gonna be hurting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hurting how? Just like not as comfortable as today?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's livable. That's fine. I mean, we're pretty adaptable beings. That's really not that's expected, I guess.
Yeah, but I guess the thing here is that, do you recognize what is happening? That's the real question. And the answer, for the most part, of the people that we know have no idea what is happening.
Well, even if they did know, what are they supposed to do about it? Yeah.
Buy Bitcoin. Dude, hedge.
Yeah. I mean, that's what everyone else is doing.
That's what the responsible person should do.
Yeah, but but think of the average person's like they're not here managing millions of dollars under their books.
No.
So it's like, the little bit of cash that they have being offset by owning Bitcoin, it's not really going to safeguard them from the future, right? This is only like the corporate elites and institutional like strategy where this like makes any sense at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, if what you're saying is the people who earn an income, they essentially spend 100% of it to just stay alive.
Yeah.
There's nothing that they can do anyways.
Basically.
It's just going to get worse. They're going to be able to purchase less and less things under that.
Yeah, but I guess it's important. It's why we do what we do on the channel, right? It's like, you should at least be 10% of your income, even though that's like, it might not be much. It's something you can like build a bankroll out of that over time. If you save up 10% of your income for like 6 months, you might have $1,000, $2,000 at the end of it to play with. Right. And these markets that we typically analyze frequently to find opportunities within, originally it's crypto.
Yeah.
$1,000, $2,000, we've identified several different opportunities where you could have 100x that, right? And that's why crypto is so alluring, captivating. It's an opportunity machine. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And same thing with stocks. Now that it's becoming much more accessible, people are understanding how to leverage options and stuff through Robinhood and other applications. I think Coinbase is going to have like stock trading soon. I think I heard. I think I heard that. Maybe not. I could be wrong. Or maybe it's crypto perps. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's perps.
Okay. But the point is like you can actually like escape to a small degree if you like, leverage a little bit of your income
You
to
know,
like actually participate in these markets, right? Like that's always been like an underlying value I think we offer to this
yeah.
channel.
Also, the opportunity I think is always there, even though they're not 1000x opportunities. Why? Because you have the ability to buy options and levered options as well. So now your $100 is actually really $1,000, and so you could do a 10x, and that 10x is really 1000x from your $100.
Yeah, but see that's very risky.
It's only risky if on the downside, because if it goes down 1%, it's like going down 10%, and then you get liquidated.
Yeah.
So that's what a 10x levered means.
Mm-hmm.
But if it goes up 1%, it's like going up 10%. And so now it's like there's my point is there are always an opportunity. It's just the bigger the risk, the bigger the opportunity.
Yeah, well, this just kind of like plays in line with what I was talking about earlier. Is, I never thought we would, I don't know, incorporate stocks into what it is that we do here.
I don't know. I never really thought about it either, but I felt like it was kind of inevitable in the sense that we have the traditional market, traditional finance, and then we have like the crypto finance. Eventually, there'll be one finance at one point.
Yeah, but we were assuming it's all going to be,
all crypto.
Yeah, with DeFi rails, and all we need is the right regulatory pathways to bring all this stuff on.
Yeah,
chain.
long term, everything will be crypto. Just because
Yeah.
it can be easily programmed and audited and like reviewed, just like with a program, easy.
Yeah, and you got 24/7 markets now,
Yeah.
globally accessible. That's a way better.
Yeah, but I
market
feel like that's
situation.
like a 10, 15, 20-year transition.
Probably, yeah, and it's going to be hosted by institutional finance.
Yes.
It's not going to be like some anon
No.
dev deploying a protocol.
No, it won't.
It's going to be heavily regulated.
Yeah.
And the institutions are going to be the main profiteers, just like they are. And that's the only way it's going to work.
Yes.
That's the only way they're willing to sacrifice their already existing like leverage on the earth.
Yeah, and now with the Genius Act being passed and it's all focused on stable coins, we got banks, we got regular institutions, we got all kinds of like people launching their stable coins.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just got to pay attention to what the big players like BlackRock, Larry Fink, the Robinhood CEO, all these guys, they keep perpetually talking about how they want to tokenize all their equities, bring them on chain.
Yep.
So they're talking the talk. Like they already have it in mind. They understand this is the future route for, traditional markets. It's just, figuring out the logistics of, how do you execute on that? Solana has been talking a lot of the good talk. Like they want to onboard and facilitate some of this activity, at least initially, but there's still not enough regulatory clarity, I don't think. And who knows if the chains that exist today are actually still like even configured properly to host that type of
Yeah, part of the configuration is where the domicile is, which country it's in. Right? So Solana is an American-based company, and so you'd think finances would prefer to be built on top of that.
Yeah, there's one it's called Republic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you could find like an article or something. I think I can post some tweets here so we can kind of look at it just to kind of understand what I'm talking about. Here it is. Let's see. Right there, dude.
All right, let's see what we got here. It says, big news. Soon you will be able to trade SpaceX on Solana, which will be followed by Cursor, Ramp, and XAI, and more internet capital markets.
So this is from a quote tweet from the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, so exclusive investment platform Republic plans to use blockchain technology to sell investor exposure to SpaceX, another effort in the arms race to give regular traders access to hot startups.
Yeah, so I went kind of like a little rabbit hole around this, because it's not the first time we've heard this type of shit, right? Where it's like, we're going to bring securities on chain. This has been talked about since 2017.
Yep, I remember.
It's like the golden goose, dude. It's like, allow on-chain speculation around,
Yeah, not only that, enable
assets.
24/7 trading on traditional assets.
Yeah, and then there's projects in the past who attempted this, including
Not Barnbridge.
so means there's synthetics. And
Synthetics.
there's Mirror Protocol, which
Mirror.
was, I think, launched by Do Kwon. It's like part of the whole Terra Luna ecosystem.
Oh, I don't remember that, but yeah.
Yeah, it was part of the Terra ecosystem. But a lot of these, they all got pinged by the SEC. But you got to remember, like, these were different regulatory times, you know? Like,
Yeah.
good ideas, probably, like, decent execution. Is just, it wasn't the right timing for this stuff. Same with, like, stable coins. Like, you know, Facebook's Libra, they attempted at the wrong time. Like,
Man.
now is the time to be doing this stuff, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Zuckerberg brings Libra back.
Yeah. Me neither. You know, these are the things to be paying attention to. It's like
Mark Zuckerberg is the king of like the biggest country in the world. It has like 2 or 3 billion users. You don't think they're gonna bring a stable coin back? That's insane.
I don't know. I'd have to relook at because it wasn't just them that was involved in that. It was like a conglomeration of other tech companies.
Yeah, but they were like nodes, just fake nodes.
Yeah. I remember.
All you need is just assets in the bank, and
Yeah.
you don't need nodes.
No, you don't. I mean, they have plenty of capital, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
But the point being, so if you pay attention to tweets like this, maybe if you go down the logistics hole of this, it's probably not perfect. They're advocating for essentially tokenizing like pre-IPO stage companies, right? Cursor, Ramp, XAI, these aren't publicly traded right now.
Correct.
But they're advocating for like actually creating markets around them on chain.
I definitely buy Anthropic.
Yeah, but the question is like, what are you actually buying?
Yeah, what are you getting with this purchase?
Because you're buying these companies under the assumption that they will go public at some point, right?
Yeah.
Or get acquired by some other major company.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you don't need the approval of these companies, which I find odd.
Well, I don't mention that. They mentioned that somewhere in here.
Yeah.
I forget where. It's somewhere in here. Like they're using some sort of act from 2012. Here you go. You scroll down in the tweet thread a little bit, you'll find it.
Okay. All right, one sec.
Right there.
It says it's able to offer the tokens in part because of a provision in 2012 Jobs Act that let private U.S. companies issue securities and raise up to $5 million a year from retail investors. Republic says it will be the issuing company, and the tokens are essentially a note that assures token holders will be paid any increase in the price of SpaceX common stock if it goes public or is purchased.
So that's very odd to me.
That is very odd. I feel like it's in the context that the company is working with Republic. You can't just like launch these tokens willy-nilly.
It says right here, Nguyen said Republic won't need permission from the companies whose token it is selling because the tokens represent securities sold by Republic. So it's like, no, dog. We don't need to work with anybody.
What a loophole.
That is a weird loophole. But man, what if it works? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, why not speculate on these companies?
Well, of course you want to speculate on it. It's just whether or not there's like some actually transitory value to them, to the inevitable like real share of the company, right? That's the real, who knows? There's just another fuckery in the making, but it's like, well, why is the Wall Street Journal reporting on this?
Well, I mean, if you're buying these tokens and they turn into like shares of a company, that is definitely security. So
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, whatever happens, if it does happen, it has to go through regulatory bodies and.
No, not this cycle, dude. I don't think they exist anymore. It's like
no, but eventually they will. Is my point.
So
they have to follow regulation.
Yeah, I don't know if there is regulation for this, or I guess there is, but there's this loophole here where it's like they've figured out a way to where we can tokenize these things and partake in these markets, create like secondary markets around these companies, whatever, like independent of what the real markets end up becoming. So
yeah,
I don't know. The point is, it plays into this new appetite of like tapping into traditional finance and like products outside of crypto's rails, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm all for innovation, right? If we could keep pushing the envelope forward, I'm all in.
Yeah.
So bring in Terminator, bring in super intelligence, put it on blockchain, whatever it takes. Just let's keep it going.
Okay, but as far as like speculating on this stuff, like I don't know. To me, I see much more, I guess, speculative potential like in the stock market for the next, I don't know, 6 months or so, because of the Bitcoin treasury companies, the stable coin companies that are rising.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I really like what Asset is doing, Strive, and they're acquiring basically public companies who are sort of dead in the water in the sense of they have no growth. They might have like recurring income because it's a business, but there's no reason for any investor to buy those stocks. So they're going to acquire those assets and use those assets to get a bigger loan to buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah, I just wonder if, I don't know, because we haven't been playing in these markets like at all. Like, what is going to be the actual appetite for this type of stuff? You know, because there's a lot of interesting things to invest in from a retail perspective in the stock market. You know, all these AI companies, but it is kind of consolidated, right? There's only like 5 or 10 players you could really kind of bet on in the context of like the AI race.
Yeah, I mean,
so then the introduction of like a new speculative mania, which is just all these crypto shell entities, stable coins, whatever, right? Like, is this something that will be actually palatable to retail? In the same sense that, like, you know, GameStop was palatable 4 years ago just because of like a narrative took off. It's like this organic movement against institutional finance.
Yeah, I feel like GameStop and all these like retail like influxes, they're like one-off events. And like, you know, something like this, that there isn't going to be like a retail mania in a sense, because this is kind of nerdy stuff. Like, I don't think your brother's going to be calling you up about Asset or Strive or MicroStrategy.
You don't think so?
No.
That's not possible?
No way, dude. I think that's like just, you know, just a financially sound individual who understands like how this stuff works. These are investable propositions. But that's it. It's like a very specific demographic.
What if MicroStrategy hits $1 trillion as a company?
Wow, how is that investable at that point?
Well, no, not I know, but wouldn't that signal? It's like you know, we've already seen like this week 5 new companies announcing they're becoming Bitcoin treasury companies, right? And they've all successfully raised and purchased like 20,000 Bitcoin this week, even though Bitcoin only churns out like 3,000 Bitcoin on a weekly basis.
Sure.
So it's like, don't you expect a continuation of that? And if MicroStrategy becomes $1 trillion company as Bitcoin's valuation goes up,
well, I think
you expect more of these?
I think it depends on each individual company's strategy, right? MicroStrategy is the one that holds the most Bitcoin, and they're going to keep winning that race.
Of course.
Right. So anytime the Bitcoin goes up $1, it goes up $600,000 per stock, right? In a sense. And so no one else has that.
Oh, I agree.
Right. So now it's really dependent on the strategy of each of the companies. Some strategies are like, we're just going to take our revenue and put it into Bitcoin. Other strategies, we're going to buy dead companies and we're going to use that to lever to buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah. What you're telling me, it's like it's a recreation. Like, nobody can beat Ethereum, right? Ethereum was first. It was the one to introduce a new framework, a new model of digital programmability into the ecosystem, and it's number one for a reason. And as far as like a general purpose smart contract platform, but we've got 1,000 new blockchains ever since Ethereum, and they're all kind of the same. And like this one's a little bit different. Our framework does this, a little bit more scalable, blah blah blah. But nonetheless, they're still like accessible investment vehicles to the public.
Yes.
So you can't imagine like, you know, a recreation of that in the context of like, you know, public equities, or MicroStrategy is the Ethereum of that.
Well, for sure. Yeah. So you could invest on these small cap treasury companies that have a higher upside because of their strategy in comparison to MicroStrategy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and they're all, as MicroStrategy continues to go up in value, like that gives the price discrepancy like that much more range.
Yeah, it pulls everyone up.
Exactly. All was it? All boats rise?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's possible. I think
I
we
just
might
don't
see that.
I just don't know if retail is just going to like flood the gates here. I don't think so.
Well,
This is too finance, too specific on the demographic, rather than like GameStop. GameStop had a great narrative. It's like fight the man.
But GameStop's going to participate in this too. They got like $9 billion in cash. They could literally just start buying Bitcoin, and then all of a sudden GME is like hot again.
Right, but here's the thing. So $9 billion in cash converted to Bitcoin, good. But do you have a strategy beyond that?
More games.
Yeah.
Lever the Bitcoin to, expand your gaming empire. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, so now your assets is only Bitcoin. Like Asset and Strive, their assets is like companies who generate revenue. It's like that's a different kind of asset that you could pull more than $9 billion.
Yeah, because that is a company that is newly formed because of like the macro conditions and this new framework that was put forth by Michael Saylor.
Yeah.
But the potential for like existing companies like a GameStop or other companies that maybe can pull on the nostalgia heartstrings of retail and just convert their cash on hand into Bitcoin. Now they're participants in this market mania.
I see.
But they're like identifiable, right? This is more palatable to retail. It's GameStop, but it's like number go up because of Bitcoin. Think of another struggling business like Best Buy.
Best Buy, yeah.
It's Best Buy. I remember going to Best Buy. I used to love that store.
Yeah, same.
And I want to buy that stock because they've announced that they're buying Bitcoin, right? Something like that. I think that could happen. That might be the bridge.
That's I would
retail.
say so. Yes, the nostalgic bridge between retail and like this weird financial like strategy of buying Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this happen enough, right? Where we describe this right now because it hasn't happened yet, and it seems insane and unlikely. But we're painting a picture of a bubble here, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which could happen, and if this is the perfect like conditions for that to happen, just because Bitcoin, what it is, and like the whole macro situation with the dollar and everything. So companies are struggling, and crypto is like seeping its way into corporate finance to try and like propose a solution to that struggle.
Yeah, and that reminds me, when you say companies struggle, it's only the companies who are not in the top 7 of the S&P 500.
Exactly.
If you're not one of those 7 companies, you're qualified as struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, so this might be just like a re-injection of capital to kind of like these companies who are struggling just to have a second wind. But once all this is done, right, like and then Bitcoin go down, you're going to have a mass extinction event. Like the companies that didn't convert this newfound like treasury wealth to like actual value, they'll die. But the ones who did, they'll survive.
Yeah.
Right?
They'll have to sell their Bitcoin to pay their debt.
Oh man, that's going to be a lot of number go down for Bitcoin, dude.
Yeah. Just depends who has that Bitcoin, right? I don't think MicroStrategy. You should watch that interview with what Bitcoin did. They were interviewing some financial guy talking about Michael Saylor's strategy and how it's like actually viable. And like even if Bitcoin goes down 50%, like it goes to 50K, like he's got enough assets to cover like the payments.
Yeah, but that's just him. So
but so that is a very risky strategy that is sort of mitigated on the downside.
Yeah, which is fine. I think it's MicroStrategy. I think can survive indefinitely, right?
Yeah,
it's like it's the Bitcoin or like the Ethereum. Like I'm saying, it's just and it's just like another mania that plays out in context to stable coins. If because we're seeing multiple new like crypto companies trying to issue stable coins and build like Circle-esque businesses around that.
Yeah, those are not going to survive for
Right.
sure.
At some point, yes, but they could still like go up.
Sure,
right?
that they can still go up. Yes.
Yeah. So that's my point. Like, Tether, Circle, these are probably like the
Yeah, but here's the risk. It's like what was that? What was the token that Terra Luna used that wasn't the stable coin? It wasn't TUSD. It was like Terra, right? I think it was Terra
I think it was UST.
or UST. That's the stable coin, but Terra.
That was like the,
the
governance
crypto.
token.
Yeah. Yeah, that did like 1,000x. So if you knew what Terra Luna was, which was like something that wasn't going to work, you'd still buy Terra because of stupidity, and you'd make 1,000x, but you need to exit quickly.
Wait, when you say stupidity, you mean like you're stupid, or you understand the stupidity?
No,
of,
you understand the stupidity of the market, and you're taking advantage of it by buying Terra.
That's kind of what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like I'm painting a really stupid picture of the future. It's like it sounds so dumb, where it's like Toys R Us, Bed Bath and Beyond, whatever like retailers are out there that are like on the verge of death over the next 4 years.
Yes,
there's got to be a lot of them, right? As Amazon continues to like soak market share from retail, and then like AI replacing everything. It's just
hear this. It's like, when's the last time you heard of these two companies, Monster and Career Builder?
Oh, you're not talking about Monster Energy, are you?
No.
I was like, I just drank one this morning. Career Monster? Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't apply.
Right. Yeah, well, they just filed for bankruptcy like today or yesterday.
What does that mean? Nobody's applying for work anymore?
It means nobody's using those platforms anymore.
What are they using?
Indeed. Indeed, because they're paying for ads. Like, that's why we've heard of them.
Yeah, Monster was pretty big, though.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Career Builder.
Yeah, they sound like they should die.
Yeah. Chapter 11.
Yeah, I mean, they need to be buying Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they have any cash at hand to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's the thing. We'll see. Then we talked about, what's it called? Strive and Asset, whatever the fuck. Their strategy is literally to find these companies that are like on the verge. They're not, cash negative.
Yeah.
But they have cash on hand, so let's just acquire these like on the way to death minnows, capture the remaining capital they have left, and then convert that into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, sounds like a feasible strategy. I just don't know how like fast of a. That sounds like a very slow thing to do.
Yeah, but if it's sustainable, even if like doesn't matter if Bitcoin's $1 million or $10,000, it doesn't matter as long as you could still acquire and still buy. That's all that matters. It's like dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, meaning like this isn't like a thing that can only work like for the next year. Like this can work indefinitely.
Yeah.
It's just like an escape hatch option for companies.
Yeah, and those companies, they are praying for somebody to buy them. And I'm sure they've been trying for like decades to get somebody to buy them, but no one wants to buy, any of these companies because they're legacy assets. But we have one buyer. It's in the same kind of like realm of nobody wants to buy U.S. debt.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Tether, we have Circle. They're buying U.S. debt.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I don't know what prediction I'm trying to make here, but say the prediction I just made comes true. That is what captures like retail's involvement over the next year.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's happening outside the rails of crypto. So this is like an off-chain retail mania, but capitalizing on the fundamental value that crypto has produced, at least in Bitcoin and stable coins.
Yeah.
But like bringing it to a traditional financial audience, which is much deeper liquidity than the crypto audience. Right?
It's trillions.
Yeah, we're talking the deepest of pockets.
Yep.
It's like now they get to like be degens, right?
Yeah, maybe this is the play.
Yeah, so what does that mean? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. It's like, we're a crypto influence, crypto channel.
Now we're over here, a finance channel.
Fucking Squawk Box, dude. CNBC. what is it? Mad Money with Jim Cramer. It's
Yeah.
like we're one of those guys now.
Right.
It's like imagine it's like our content is just we're picking stocks.
Yeah.
We're ringing the bells every morning.
I mean, ultimately, this channel has always been about opportunity, not necessarily. I mean, it's been focused on crypto because that's where the opportunity was.
But it's still crypto, even if it's stocks, right? We're not talking about Palantir or like, here's why you should buy this Chinese company that's competing with NVIDIA's like chip manufacturing. Like, that's interesting.
It is interesting.
Probably a good opportunity too.
Sure.
But we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Nothing related to crypto. But I think this little festering narrative within the equities market, like that's a good little bridge.
Yeah, plus traditional finance is going to morph into crypto altogether, given enough time. We're talking about the dollar here becoming a stable coin like USDC and USDT, where instead of waiting a few days to receive your wire transfer, it gets there instantly across the planet. Like the whole world is going to be using that infrastructure, which is just the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the cryptofication of finance right there. That's the beginning.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm looking forward to that. Like, if this prediction rings true, it's like the tail end of it all is like somehow we've got to figure out a way how to, bring all that liquidity generated in the TradFi markets on chain somehow.
Yeah, I think it would be through a stable coin.
I think so too. And then that's like the bull thesis we're all looking for, right? We need a bull thesis for your like an actual bull market for crypto. Like right now, I'm not seeing it until like something like this plays out, captures a lot of retail attention and awareness, and the whales are perfectly positioned to remigrate all that interest to the on-chain stuff, right? The crypto native stuff.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I could definitely see that. But you're right. We need to find that link where it's like the retail mania leads to everyone all of a sudden holding stable coins, and it's like, wait a minute. It's like, yeah, I'm holding a stable coin. Yeah, this new tech, but it's still going down 10% per year because the United States keeps printing money. So I need to move that into something more interesting, like crypto.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
because there's more legislation, I guess, coming in September or something around. I think it's centered around more like broader crypto applications, like DeFi stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So that's another like catalyst here, where it's like now we have more clarity as far as how we can utilize stable coins to generate more yield on chain, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I think I remember a tweet by Donald Trump. He was saying like, I'm in a hurry to get crypto regulation completed, and so like send me what you got as quickly as you can, something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Trump said that?
Yeah.
That's so weird. Where's this urgency coming from, dude?
His sons.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, Dad, dude.
Yeah, hurry up. What are you doing over there?
It's like, shit, man.
Stop talking about Israel and...
Yeah, dude, stop spending $2 billion on a carpet bomb, dude. We got some money to make over here, dude.
Yeah.
New financial paradigm. I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, he's a busy man, right? He's got a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to hear like crypto is like having this much of like a emphasis on, the roadmap of the United States. It's pretty,
it's almost like ubiquitous and it's less fringy. Yeah, we had the AC broke, and I had a guy, come and fix it, and I was talking to him. He was like, "Hey, what do you do?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm in crypto and all this." It's like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that." It's like, I've heard of Ripple and
Doge
and ETH and Doge.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, well, what do you say? It's like, I told her just buy Bitcoin. It's like, don't speculate on anything. Just buy it, forget about it. It's like, well, why? It's like, well, money printing. It's like, what do you mean by money printing? And
God damn it.
Yeah, I was
Why do you do this to yourself every time, dude? It's like, then what, like 30-minute conversation ensues about like the monetary system?
Yeah, right.
Because that's what happened, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, do you notice the prices going up? It's like, yeah. It's like, do you understand why? It's like, no, it was just a kid, right? He was just a kid.
What do you mean?
He was a kid. He was like, 24, 25.
Okay.
Right?
Damn. Yeah.
So he doesn't know. He's not looking up how fiat money works, They're
He's
not
like,
doing
dude,
that.
I just came to change the compressor.
Exactly.
Really, it's just a
I
capacitor.
heard you needed some Freon, my guy. It's like I got like a full course like education on like
On finance.
finance.
Here's how money works, son.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but thanks
Yeah.
for that. You know.
Yeah, but he feels these problems, right? You feel it, but when you feel these problems, it's like, you know, you're swimming in water, you're a fish, it's a little dirty, but you're still in the water, you're still moving around, like things are okay because you're still alive, but they're not okay. The water's dirty,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like, dude, the water's dirty. You need to like figure it out.
What do you mean figure it out though? Like, what is he supposed to do again? Like,
Well, do what you can,
right.
and dollar cost average, even if it's like $5 every month, just do what you can do.
Well, see, I've.
It may not be enough to like save people, but
I mean, it definitely is. Like now that I've been in crypto for like 8 years now, like my whole umbrella experience, I wish I could go back in time and only buy Bitcoin. Like,
yeah,
since I started, that would have been like the play, right?
Yeah.
8 years ago, like back in, you know, just only do that. Like you're saying, just dollar cost average in, and I would be comfortable, right? But back in those days, I always have this mindset of like, you know, I don't know. It's like there has to be a bigger opportunity out there, right? And there are, and they've happened.
it's just you got to catch them. It's like
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
catching a wave.
Yeah.
Is generally not a simple thing to do. It's like you need special skills to do that.
Yeah, it is. It's a skill, and it's a layer of experience, like how to handle like the big fish when it's like in your on your ship.
Yeah,
You know, it's gonna flop its way out. You know,
yeah, that's right.
as opposed to like you're putting out like a big net and you're just catching a bunch of little fish over
Yeah,
time.
so I enjoy watching Michael Saylor's speech. He gives one, you know, several times a year, and each one that he gives is a different one. So I find it interesting to understand, like, what is he going to say this time that is different than how he said it last time?
Mm-hmm.
Because the ultimate message is just buy Bitcoin, right? That's always the ultimate message.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how he explains it, right? He's using thermodynamics and all this stuff. And he says that ultimately Bitcoin is like you think like you've missed it, like it's too late.
Yeah.
And no matter what year you find Bitcoin, you look at it and you feel like it's too late. It would be like finding the internet and saying it's too late for me to learn, you know, what the internet is and how to use it. Finding AI today, even though it's like 2.5 years old, and from a retail perspective, finding it today is like, well, there's no use in me learning how to use AI because it's too late, right? I'm already behind, and that's not true for any of these situations. It's not too late to like leverage fire. It's not too late to leverage, you know, all these like basic necessities. It's never too late, and Bitcoin is one of those things.
Yeah, but still, you're not considering like the individual at hand, right? And the circumstance of the individual. It's like it is too well. It's like because we're talking about like you know, how do you deal with the impending financial collapse and such, right? You need to be equipped with like real resources to like actually mitigate your own personal circumstantial like outcome in that scenario, right?
Yeah, but we agree most people are not paying attention like we are. And so if you were to give them one action to do, just one, what would it be? It's like prepare for the zombie apocalypse. I was like, well, what does that even mean?
No, but I'm more so talking about like, okay, in context of understanding what Bitcoin is and this momentum it has, it's this inevitability of it becoming self-fulfilling.
Yeah.
Its mission. It's like it's on its way. Don't even worry about it. So you can just buy Bitcoin.
Yep.
With a little bit of like trickled funds you can accrue every month or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, whenever like the collapse happens, you're probably still like fucked, right? Because
if the collapse happens, we got to understand what the context of a collapse means. I mean, the dollar is worthless, and then the Bitcoin is like worth something. So maybe that little Bitcoin that you accumulate over the 5 or 10 years before the dollar collapsed, turns into enough money to be able to pay the bills
for sure
to sustain for the next 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, I 100% agree, but it's like my mindset is like, and I think a lot of others, it's trying to find the bigger opportunity. So like we're talking about these companies who are becoming Bitcoin Treasury companies, they are perceivably bigger opportunities only because
Sure.
they're capitalizing on the fundamental value of Bitcoin itself to create like a higher upside potential.
Right. And not only that, the asset, one of the companies that we're talking about here, their purpose is to outperform Bitcoin. That is their motivation. That is what their job is to do. So like if you invest in that, hopefully they're right and they do outperform Bitcoin, then you've won, right? Then
but then like you said, hopefully, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
You're taking on that risk.
Yeah, it's either it's like you take on that risk and buy asset because they're supposed to outperform Bitcoin, or you just buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it's like
zero risk, basically.
Zero risk.
Virtually zero. But like, incremental safety net. As opposed to if you get the right one and it executes, actual parachute potentially. Right?
Yeah, I mean, and then I told the guys, like, what if I told you that you're going to spend the next 10 years, right, working, you're going to spend those years already, right? So might as well spend the time just buying Bitcoin in that time frame because you're going to spend those 10 years anyways. And yeah, I mean, it's like it feels like it's a no-brainer if in the context of things, because if you go back, like you're saying, if you go back 8 years, if you just bought Bitcoin, it would have been a really good outcome.
Yes.
It's just allocate just 5-10% of your income to do that, and then you can speculate, you could go crazy, buy cars, whatever on the rest of it, while 10% is like in the right spot.
Yeah, now it's like starting to get factored into like mortgages and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so it is. Yeah, that was the play, was to buy Bitcoin, but still, we need the bold daredevils like myself.
Sure.
Otherwise, we don't have viable markets at all to be paying attention to. This channel would be
snooze-a-thon.
Snooze-a-thon.
It's like every video is like just buy Bitcoin.
I mean, there's plenty of people who actually do that, and they do pretty well actually. So I don't know, but the point is, I don't know what the point is, to be honest. It's just
you can buy Bitcoin and also speculate. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but not financial advice, right?
No, absolutely not. All right, guys, that's it for us. We talked about Bitcoin. We talked about companies who are acquiring Bitcoin. That's sound financial strategy, as they call it these days. And yeah, if you have any questions about what's going on, definitely leave a comment below. And if you find anything in crypto that you find interesting, put it in the comment section below as well. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next podcast.
Peace.